and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Bookmas video. Today we are going to be going over all of the books that I want to read in 2026. So, of course, the 26 books that I want to read in 2026. Because, you know, we have to be cutesy and maybe a little bit cheesy at this point and make sure that the number matches the year. I love picking TBRs. It is one of my favorite things to do. Sticking to my TBRs, that's completely different, but I do love planning what I want to read and then maybe sometimes following through with it. Kind of. We're not going to talk about my 25 and 2025 TBR. We are looking ahead to bigger and better things, which is, yeah. Anyway, so we're just going to get right into the 26 books that I picked for this list. So the way that I decided to do it this year is I kind of split it in half. I felt like this past year I put a lot of books on there that I maybe didn't own yet. Actually, looking back, maybe I did okay trying to split it half and half, but I still really wanted to try and prioritize at least getting to some of the books that had been on my TBR longer for 2026. So I actually asked my boyfriend to pick half of these books out for me because I knew going through he might look at books that had been on my shelves longer and actually pick those, whereas I knew if I went through and went, oh, well, I'm still picking like half of them for my physical TBR, I would pick the ones that were very recently added to my physical TBR. I just know that about me. I gravitate towards the ones that are new because, you know, the newest, shiniest toy is the one that you tend to pick. So I asked him to pick 13 of them and I'm really excited for the ones that he picked. Then the other 13 are ones that I've been really wanting to get to. I just haven't yet, or some new releases. So anyway, we're gonna get right into them. Some of these I know premises for, some of them I don't. So if I don't know a lot, I do apologize. The first book that he picked for me is Cain's Jawbone. I think I've had this on my TBR for a couple years now. It's a word puzzle and a whodunit. So there's 6 murders, 100 pages, millions of possible combinations, but only one is correct. So you actually go through and it has all of these little clues and like a crossword thing, and you try to figure out what the solution is. It says that the pages have been printed in entirely haphazard order, but it's possible through logic and intelligent reading to sort them into only correct order, revealing 6 murder victims and their respective murderers. Only through puzzlers who have ever solved the mystery of Cain's Jawbone do you have what it takes to join their ranks. I think I had seen this talked about on like a Facebook article, and that's why I got it. I think. I don't really know, but it sounded like fun. It sounded like fun. So we're going to give this a try next year, see if I'm smart enough to figure this out. I have a very strong feeling that I'm not, and that is okay. Then the next one that he picked is The Twin by Natasha Preston. So he did tell me, he was like, listen, if I don't pick a good one, it's not my fault. I was like, no, it's my fault because it's on my shelves. And he's been really good at picking some of my reads recently. Like, I think he's picked 2 or 3 for me, and they've always been ones that I've really enjoyed. Unfortunately, I didn't tell him this, but he's probably watching this, so he'll figure it out now. This is probably going to be one that I don't end up enjoying, mainly because I did read another book by her earlier in the year that I don't even remember the name of right now. And I didn't end up enjoying it that much. It was much more YA than I expected it to be. But I didn't want to assume that every Natasha Preston book that I had in my physical TBR was going to be that way, so I kept this. And we're going to see how it goes. But I don't really know. It says that Ivy and Iris haven't lived together for years. When their mother and father divorced, each parent got custody of one twin. But after a tragic accident takes their mom's life, the devastated sisters are reunited, and Iris moves in with Ivy and their dad. Iris takes their mom's death especially hard. She barely talks, spending hours alone in her room. Ivy can't stand to see Iris so sad. She promised Iris that she can share her life now. After all, they're sisters, twins. It's a promise that Iris takes seriously, and before long, Ivy's friends and her teachers and even her boyfriend fall under Iris's spell. Soon, Ivy begins to think that there's something wrong with her twin. It's almost like Iris is out to get her. Ivy tells her she's being paranoid. It's not like she's in any danger from her twin. ... So we'll see. Like, the premises always sound fun, but like I said, it's the execution and the writing style that ends up just not being my thing. And I say that like I've read a bunch of them. I've only read one, but that was how it went for that one. So yeah, we'll see. Another one that is actually probably going to be very YA is Matched. This is like a trilogy. I found it in a little free library, and when I saw it, I remembered seeing it a bunch when I was in like middle school or high school. I don't even remember. So I picked it up because I was like, you know what? I'm not spending any money on it. Like, I was just swapping out books that I didn't want anymore. So why not give it a try? This is about a young woman named Cassia that is living in like this dystopian society where officials decide who you love, where you work, and when you die. She says that, I think matched is the first one, but her friend shows up on this matching screen and she knows with complete certainty that he's the one until she sees another face flash for an instant before the screen fades to black. Now she's faced with the impossible choice between Xander and Kai, between the only life she's known and a path no one has ever dared to follow, between perfection and passion. I do enjoy dystopian novels, and I would love to get back into them, but we'll see if that one's a little bit too YA for me. Again, though, another conscious decision on my part to keep it on my shelf, knowing that there's a possibility I won't like it. So, anyway. Then we have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is a dark academia that I've been meaning to get to for the longest time, and I will probably be doing a reading vlog for it sometime in the beginning of 2026. Just a little spoiler for you guys for what's coming up. But I do intend to get to this very soon. I'm super excited about it. I know that there are 7 bright young students in this Shakespearean conservatory or something like that. So they are all at the school where they are all super into Shakespeare. They put on plays, they study the plays and everything, but in their 4th and final year, good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and an opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenges yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. I've heard that the Shakespeare content in here can be a little heavy-handed. I'm not a huge Shakespeare person, so I'm a little bit concerned about it in that regard, but I have still heard really good things, so we'll see. We'll see for that one. Then another, he just really went and picked like random ones, and I love that so much because that's really what I wanted him to do, is Not the Guy You Marry. This was another one that I found at a little free library thinking it could be cute, and then I didn't end up reading it. So it follows a man named Jack, who is a journalist that sort of pigeons himself as the how-to guy for buzzy internet media companies instead of covering hard-hitting politics. He doesn't really want to do fluffy news articles anymore, so he decides that he's going to try to write this final piece where it's titled How to Lose a Girl. So he's fake dating this girl named Hannah, who is a successful event planner, but she's trying to prove to her boss that she has range, including planning romantic weddings. So she thinks that if she starts dating somebody, she'll be able to convince her boss that she would be perfect for these types of big events. So it sounds like they are both fake dating. I'm assuming that they are both aware of the fact that the other one doesn't actually want to be in this relationship. I'm assuming. It doesn't really explicitly say that, but we're just gonna go with that assumption. The problem is, with every fake dating relationship in books, their feelings start becoming real, and now they don't really know how to handle that. Then for a dark romance, we have Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This is like a stalker romance, if I remember properly. It's about a trauma nurse who enjoys watching content with like masked men. And she always follows this same guy who posts these videos of him in a mask. And I guess she reaches out to him one night and he gets really intrigued by her, I guess manages to figure out who she is in real life and starts stalking her in real life. I've heard that the audiobook for this is incredible, so maybe we'll try reading it that way, but we'll see. Then another dark romance, because I'm kind of surprised you picked 2. We have Wretched. I have not read Scarred in this, so it goes Hooked, Scarred, and then Wretched, or Wretched. I might try to read Scarred before I get to this. We'll see. I think they're interconnected. You don't have to read them in a particular order, so that's perfectly fine with me. This is about Evelina Westerly, who has always been the bad guy. As the bronze, brains, and botanist behind her family's drug empire, she's her father's ruthless secret weapon. After a one-night stand with a gorgeous man in a nightclub, she stated her urges and is back to her criminal ways. That is until the same man shows up at the new Westerly lackey under a totally different name. But Nicholas Wordsworth's real seeker is much more dangerous than an alias. He's an undercover DEA agent, and he's hell-bent on destroying the drug trade that devastated his family. Evelina embodies everything he's against, and he's been sent here to be her downfall, yet the more they learn about the darkness in each other's hearts, the more alike they seem. And when hatred turns to something more, Nicholas will have to decide whether he can love a wretched woman, even if it means bringing both of their lives to ruin. All of the books in this Never After series are supposed to be inspired by Disney fairy tales. I feel like I should be able to figure out which one this is, but I'm being completely honest, I can't. And if you tell me what it is, I'll probably go, yeah, I'm stupid, I should have been able to figure that out. But right now I don't know. I always love when one of them is like secretly undercover or something. The problem is it can sometimes be really well executed, and other times it's not very well executed. So I'm curious to see how this one goes. But I've been meaning to get through that series, so I am glad that he picked that one. Then the next one that he picked for me is Fight. This is the first book in the Skyridge Hotshot series, and this is about a wilderness firefighter. That is about all I know. That's all I know. I know it's a romance. I know that I really love the artwork on the cover, not just because it's a really good looking man. I just think the artwork is actually really well done. So I do have high hopes for this one because I've heard really good things, and if so, I might try to continue through the series for that one, but the series is not going to be part of my 26 in 2026 because I have a lot of other series in here and I don't need to do that to myself quite yet. The rest of the books that he picked for me are actually going to be special editions. I have a ton of them, so I'm really glad that he went through and picked quite a few of them for this list because I really do need to get through a lot of them. First up, we have Queen of the Damned. This is the complete series in like an omnibus, and look how cute the little raccoon is. I absolutely love it. So this is about a young woman named Ruby who runs a tattoo parlor in Portland with her best friend. She has a pet raccoon, a crazy ex that stalks her, and she's also a demon. She's half succubus, to be exact. For the last 23 years of her life, that's the story she believed, but on the day a handsome stranger bails her out of jail, her world is turned upside down and suddenly she doesn't know who she is anymore because the Four Horsemen aren't the bringers of the apocalypse. I am. So it sounds like it's going to be fun. I own a couple books that sort of focus on the Horsemen, but I've never actually read them, so this would be, unless I get to those before this one, this would be like my first attempt into that, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm hoping it gives sort of like supernatural vibes. I love that show, so that would be really fun for me if it did. Then we have Immortal by Sulin Tan. I've heard really good things about this author. I forget what the other books that she's written are, but I do know that a lot of people like her writing style. I know that this is a fantasy. I know that it involves like immortal beings. That's about all I know, and I think I'm okay with that. Sorry if you were not. Then we have The Dagger and the Flame. I've heard great things about this one specifically. This is in a kingdom where shade magic is scarce and deadly commodity, controlled by two enemy guilds, the Cloak and the Daggers, the Thieves and the Assassins. On the night of her mother's murder, 18-year-old Seraphine runs for her life seeking sanctuary with the Cloaks. Sarah's heart is set on revenge, but are her secret abilities a match for the dark-haired boy whose quicksilver eyes follow her around the city? Nothing can prepare Sarah for the moment that she comes face to face with Ransom, heir to the Order of the Daggers, and Ransom is shocked to discover that this unassuming farm girl wields a strange and blazing magic he has never seen before. It's supposed to be an enemies to lovers. You literally have a knife to the throat scene in the picture. Shade magic? I don't know what that is, but that sounds really fun and unique, and I think the second book for this is already out, so I would love to get to that, assuming that I enjoy this one. Then we have A Dance of Lies. I'm gonna be honest, I did actually pick this one before I went, hey, I should have Dan pick the rest of my books on my priority TBR for next year. So I did pick this one for myself before I came up with that idea. But that's because it is so pretty, and I've heard absolutely fantastic things. Emmy here on BookTube, she loves this book, raves about it a lot, and that kind of sold me on it. This is about a dancer for the king's court until he framed her for murder. So she was in prison for 2 years because of the king lying and blaming her for something that she hadn't done. Finally, the king shows up and offers her a deal. She can get out of prison if she poses as a dancer at the royal gatherings, spies on his enemy, and sort of does his bidding. The problem is that his bidding gets more dangerous, more bloody, and she doesn't really want to do this anymore. She discovers the monster she serves may be aligned with an even greater evil, so she ends up kind of caught in the middle between this rivalry, this debt to the king, and she's trying to figure out who she can trust and how best to get out of this debt that she has found herself in. I don't know if this is a standalone. I'm kind of hoping it is because it would be nice to have some more fantasy standalones in my life, but I don't have high hopes for that because it's so rare to find a fantasy standalone. The next one he picked for me is Mistress of Lies. I think this is a vampire novel, and it's about a young woman who is a disgraced blood worker. She builds up her blood magic. She has a network of spies. In order to protect her brother, she kills her father and goes on, I guess, like this revenge arc. And then the main male character stumbles upon the first victim of a magical serial killer, and he's drawn into the world of sorcery and intrigue as he is trying to figure out who this serial killer is. Like I said, I think this is vampires. It sounds like it has a ton of fun, unique fantasy premises in it. And that's about all I got for that one. Then the last one that he picked for me is actually a thriller. This is The Ghostwriter. This is about a young woman whose sibling had ended up being murdered, and everybody kind of thinks that her father was responsible. She has like put distance between herself and her father. She is now a ghostwriter, and she is approached with one final memoir for her father. Her father is actually an author himself, and he wants help writing his last book, so he goes to his daughter, who does not like him anymore because of all of these rumors that have gone around, and is like, I need your help with this final book, with this memoir. She agrees, and then finds out that he is actually writing the story of that night when her sibling was killed. And I guess really probably goes off the rails from there. I'm very excited to read this one. I found it because of the sprayed edges. I saw those and thought they were really cool with like the book burning imagery, and then I read the premise and was instantly hooked. I got the premise for this wrong, sorry. It was actually, people think that he killed his sibling, not her sibling, his sibling. Anyway, a sibling is dead. They think he's responsible. She's helping write the memoir that will explain what happened. Alright, then getting into the books that I don't own the physical copies of, that I kind of picked for myself. We have 13 of these to get through. I will try to be a little more succinct for you guys. First up, we have When Among Crows. This is by Veronica Roth. I don't know anything else about it beyond that. I don't really need to know anything about it. I loved Divergent by her, and I've been really excited about her writing some new stuff. I think she has another newer book coming out next year as well that I would love to read. It's not on this list because I didn't know about it until now. This one she had released, I think it looks like 2024, and I had no idea that it was a thing. And now that I do, I must absolutely read it. After that, we have the second arc of the Red Rising series. This world is broken into 2 trilogies. It was originally only supposed to be 1, and then Pierce Brown went, you know what, I don't think I'm quite done with this story. And I'm really happy about that because I loved this series so much. Fantastic sci-fi series, and I can't wait to see what the second arc holds. I think it's probably set a little bit further in the future. Maybe get to see some of the progression of the world since everything ended in the first trilogy. I can't wait to get back into this series. Then we have the City of Gods and Monsters series. I know this is fantasy. I think it might have fae. It might not. I'm not really sure. All I know is everybody's been talking about it this past year, and I've really been wanting to read it. They're just massive books, so I kept putting them off. But no longer in 2026, we are finally going to get to the series. And yes, I'm doing that irritating thing now where I have entire series on my TBR. Did it blow up in my face in 2025? Yes. Did it also in 2024? Yeah, I think so a little bit. But we're going to do it again, and we're going to see if it goes better this time because, you know, third time's a charm. Then we have The Wall of Winnipeg. This is a Mariana Zapata book. I think this is about a football player. I don't remember, but I know that she apparently is like the queen of slow burn romance, and I've really been intrigued by her books for quite a while now and just have never really picked one up, but I think 2026 is going to be the year that I finally get into one of those. After that, we have Bonds of Hercules. This is the sequel to Blood of Hercules. I don't know if this is going to be a duology or if there's going to be more after this. This is such like a fever dream of a story. It's about this world where they're set kind of like with Olympic gods, and the gods pick people to play in these games, and if you win the games, you get to be a god yourself, but like it's super bloody and brutal, and really they're just killing off the few remaining people that might have any of these magical gifts from the gods. So it was a little bit weird, and it sucked me in enough. It was weird enough that I got sucked in, and I really want to know what happens with the next one. I think that it's gonna end up being more of a why choose romance in the second one because she's bound to 2 mentors, and they both kind of want her. I think that's how that's gonna go, or maybe not even a why choose. I don't know. I'm just kind of going in for the vibes, if I'm being honest. Then after that, we have Poison Study. This is a series. I'm not entirely sure how many books are in this. I know that it's a fantasy series, and my boyfriend recommends it because he knew the author, and I really want to give it a shot since he's recommended it. It's very rare that he recommends a fantasy series, so I'm very intrigued by it. After that, we have Rights of Starling. This is going to be the second book to the Shield of Sparrows series. I really enjoyed that first book. It's a 4.5 star read. So close to being a 5-star. I really loved the world that she created, the sort of way that magic worked with the weird magical beings, but how they were more evil versions of regular creatures, and the tension and the angst between the two main characters, the way that that book ended sets up for probably a pretty devastating beginning of this second book, and I'm really excited to see where she takes it. Then another sequel is Merciful as the Dark. This is by Sophie Clark. This is the second book to Cruel as the Light. This is, I kind of compare it to the Shadowhunters world because it's about people who are fighting against demons. And it's people that are using like blood magic. They have this whole religion that is wrapped up around it, and it's this fight between good and evil. I was very enthralled by this book in the first one, so I'm really hoping that the second one just ramps it up an extra notch and that I'm even more obsessed. The first one was really close to 5 stars, so I'm hoping that this one will get to that mark. Only a few more. Up next we have The Bletchley Riddle, which is actually, I think, the only historical fiction that I have on this list, and that is because it's by Rudis Petties. This is one of my favorite historical fiction authors. I saw this on one of the display tables at a bookstore about a month ago. Didn't realize that she had written it, and I was like, well, I'm trying to behave with my book buying, but this is absolutely going on my priority TBR for 2026. This is set during World War II, as a lot of hers are, and it follows siblings Jacob and Lizzie as they solve codes and search for their missing mother amidst the secret code-breaking operations and Nazi threats. It's a YA. I haven't really read anything by her that's YA, but I think that she'll be able to pull it off really well. I love the idea of like solving codes, the code-breaking intrigue of World War II, and then of course like just that era and Nazi Germany is a morbid fascination for me, so I'm very, very intrigued to see how she does this story. Then another standalone that we have is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I hate to say it, I've yet to read a Kristen Hanna book. I know it's terrible, especially for somebody that does actually like historical fiction. I don't know why I haven't. I think because they're just so intimidating at this point. But I gifted my mom a copy of this earlier in the year, and she said that she was really enjoying it. So I feel like I need to start diving into some of her work, and I feel like this is a great place for it because everybody's obsessed with The Nightingale. I know this is another one that's set in World War II, and I have super high hopes for this. I have high hopes for a lot of these books, if you hadn't noticed yet. Then my last two are series, because I can't seem to help myself. The first one is the Poppy Wars series. I actually read the first book already. I just want to complete the series, so it should only be 2 more. The first book was it was so heavy. Lots of very, very devastating topics, heavy topics that were covered about war and about humanity and about the decisions that we make during war. Then you add in this fascinating fantasy element, you add in some martial arts. It was captivating and enthralling, and I found out that I really love R.F. Kuang's writing, so I would love to get into the rest of her backlist this year. I read Catabasis already as well and really loved that, so yeah, I'd love to get through this series and maybe see if I can work my way through some of her other books. Obviously those are not on this list, but we're still gonna mention them. And then the last series that we have on here is the Crescent City series. I read the ACOTAR series in 2024 / January of 2025. I'm currently working my way through Throne of Glass. We'll see if I finish it by 2026. So I would like to get to her last series in 2026 and be as caught up as I can be in her universe, because I think that would be just kind of fun. And I think that's probably one of the only authors that I could say that for at this point. So yeah, I would love to read these. I know that this is fantasy, but it's like a more modern setting for fantasy. I know that it's very hit or miss with some people, and I don't know where I'm going to land on it, because I've heard that even though it's more modern, she still kind of writes in the same style as her other books where they're not modern fantasies with cars and cell phones. And yeah, I don't know. I enjoy modern fantasy, but it has to be done well. So we'll see. But anyway, those are the 26 books plus some series that I would love to read in 2026. We'll see if I do a little bit better of a job prioritizing it than I did in 2025. That way I don't get to December and go, wow, I still have a lot on this list that I need to read. But like I said in the beginning, I love making these lists. Following them is a completely different story. It's kind of like book buying and book reading are 2 different hobbies. So anyway, thank you for watching another Bookmas video. Let me know what is on your priority TBR for 2026 and if you've read any of these, and I hope to see you in another video very soon. Bye.